Hey, welcome to the Doppio podcast. My name is Emil. I'm a blue snowball haver from New York, and I'm joined today by the man who already pissed, Joseph.
Okay. I don't know what to say to that. I'm hi.
But
I'm Joseph. I'm Joseph Castleman McDaniel, and I'm the original blue snowball haver, from Georgia, and the man who already pissed. Because I guess we're lucky.
dude, you gave the government name on the podcast in the first few minutes.
Well, I'm gonna pass it on to the other co-host.
Hi, I'm Renzo. I didn't piss. Well, I pissed earlier. Why are we talking about piss? I don't know why.
I don't know.
Why are we stuck here?
It's a great
Pissenheimer, let's go.
No,
Oh, man.
no.
What are you talking about?
This is our fourth episode, and we're already off the we're already off the handle.
We're already off the handle. We've already on this bonus episode of the Doppio podcast. We go crazy. We go absolutely sicko mode.
You know, sometimes the Oscars are so good that we decided to give up.
Well, 2023 was the year to go sicko mode in film, I think.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be discussing the Oscars and the year as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So the Oscars happened last night, and there was a lot of things that happened at this event, including people receiving awards.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the point of it, right?
That is the point of it.
Not if you ask Jimmy Kimmel.
Not if you ask Jimmy Kimmel. If you ask Jimmy Kimmel to make some hard jokes.
John. I mean, I think my big thing is John Mulaney needs to host next year.
Oh, for sure.
We need a fresh host. You know, we can't keep going back to Kimmel for like host Kimmel. Let's go. Like, no, we don't want that prick back. I'm sorry. Wait, why am I apologizing? I'm anti-Kimmel. Sorry.
I'm a late in life John Mulaney enjoyer. I didn't enjoy his stuff until like a couple of months ago. I was like up late one night and I just decided to put on his new special. And it sold me on him as a guy. I love this guy. This is a great guy.
You mean as a spider person or a spider ham? Would you say so?
Yeah. After that Madam Web joke at the Oscars, though, Peter Porker is about to have 0 lines. In this next movie.
About that. Oh wow.
So,
anyway,
so going back to the main point. Yes, Renzo, not Renzo, Castleman.
Yes.
Were you about to say something?
Sorry, I gotta. Someone just began texting me about a script I wrote. Anyway, took me off guard. Anyway.
Flex.
Really glad still flex. Losing took me off guard. I can tell you that.
I'll talk about it after we
we'll get there.
Anyway, we'll get there. So basically with the Oscars, you know, do you want to just do this rapid fire so we don't have a long ass podcast like we did last week? Do you want me to just read off the wins and then you guys say whether that was good or not?
Yeah, let's do that.
Or
yeah, I'm fine with that.
Does the win get a movie tote bag or does it get a what's the opposite of a movie tote bag? You gotta decide this.
A letterboxed cap.
No, but that's a good movie.
I
would be okay. A Tubi tote bag.
No. Or no, it's the loser gets a Jimmy Kimmel Tight 5.
What? Excuse me? What did you say?
He gets a Jimmy Kimmel Tight 5. Like he comes to your house and does a Tight 5. Do you know what a Tight 5 is?
What
I
is
Is
don't
that
know
the right
what
word?
that is.
It's like
Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
am I thinking of the wrong thing?
I don't know, man.
I
You
thought a
tell
type
me.
5 is like 5 minutes of material that every comedian has at their disposal.
Oh
It's just
yeah,
like
it
a
is. I
5 minute
looked at
set.
the,
Is that the right term? Am I going insane?
yeah,
We're probably going
that's
insane now. I don't know.
no, I just looked it up. That's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah. So
Type
Jimmy Kimmel comes to your house and does a type 5. That's what the
So with
Oh
this
God, Kimmel.
with this ranking system, we're implying that 5 minutes of Jimmy Kimmel's time giving you comedy is worse than like a shitty movie tote bag. Not shitty, but like, these things are probably mass produced. They probably cost them like nothing,
I
and
would
like a piece of fabric essentially. A mutilated piece of fabric is worth more than 5 minutes of Jimmy Kimmel's time. Okay, cool. Let's do this.
Oh God.
I mean, I wouldn't want him coming to my house.
And giving you a type 5.
I'd rather have Matt Damon. I don't know. Let's get Matt Damon. We'll
Okay,
have time
okay.
for Matt Damon.
So our first
Oh.
category, best visual effects. The winner was Godzilla minus wine. So was that a movie tote bag? Was it a Jimmy Kimmel
Dude.
type 5?
That's a movie tote bag if I've ever seen one. Honestly. Godzilla minus one deserves all the flowers, as we said in our previous podcast, giving our predictions. This is such a great movie. It's the Evangelion of Godzilla movies, even though the Evangelion director did make a Godzilla movie. No, this one is more Evangelion than that one, and it looks way better than I would have expected for a movie that costed $15 million, if that's even the real number. I think there was some dispute about that, but yes, that's a movie tote bag.
Yeah. All right.
Movie
Renzo, what
tote
do you
bag.
think?
Well, best costume design. Poor Things, Holly Weddington.
Wow, I got skipped over. It's fine.
What?
You just skipped over
do my
Renzo.
point. I didn't do my point.
I segued over to him.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
That was pretty Jimmy Kimmel type 5 of you, Castleman.
Do I deserve the Jimmy Kimmel? Is it? Oh man.
Okay. Turning on to Renzo. What's your thoughts on it?
Oh my god. Okay, movie tote bag, definitely for sure. I actually got emotional when I saw the whole VFX team like get their awards. Like, you can feel the joy that they were having. And, English is not their first language, but the fact that they were so overjoyed and they were basically, thanking everyone who supported and loved the movie, their whole team. It just warms your heart that they won for that. So yeah, movie tote bag movie. That's the award for Godzilla minus one for winning VFX.
Can I give a side point? Oh, go ahead, Castleman.
No, my realization is that I skipped over the Asian person to talk about the Asian.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Fucked up.
I apologize.
It's
Anyway.
okay.
I was gonna say, do you guys know that one? You know how like Paul Giamatti went to In-N-Out after that he won the Golden Globes?
Yeah.
What if he won this and he went to Jollibee instead? And he got some Chicken Joy.
I would have liked that. And he could take Dominic Sessa over there too. Would be
He
nice.
could take Dominic Sessa, some Chicken Joy.
Hell yeah. Good chicken joy.
All right.
So I agree
Next.
with you guys. This was a movie tote bag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
So best costume design. Are we ready to go on to that?
Let's go.
I'm ready.
Oh, best costume design. Poor Things, Holly Weddington. Thoughts?
Yes. Movie tote bag.
Movie tote bag for me as well. Hashtag poor things hype. Hashtag poor things sweep.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I agree. Movie tote bag. Any more thoughts? Moving on.
No, that's
We
it
can
for
move
me.
on.
Best makeup and hairstyling. Poor Things.
So I just want to give a second apology to all the hair and makeup artists out there.
That was 2 episodes ago, bro.
It was 2 episodes ago, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about them and how upset they must be at me. I'm sorry, guys.
For all you know,
That
there's a
being,
makeup artist who hadn't heard that episode, but they're listening to this one, and now they're gonna go back to see what you said.
What have
well,
you
you know,
done?
I'm taking accountability for this.
Good.
I'm taking accountability for my actions, and in saying that, I will give Poor Things a movie tote bag for makeup and hairstyling.
Movie tote bag as well. I will say I was kind of expecting Maestro to probably get this one, but you know what? Poor Things winning most technical awards as well. I'm pretty much happy with that. So, yeah. I mean, it just shows even if you watch the movie, you're gonna be like, yeah, best makeup, hairstyling, Poor Things. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Movie tote bag. Best production design. Also Poor Things. James Price and Shona Heath.
Movie tote bag.
Movie tote bag.
Yeah, movie tote bag. Man, you know, Poor Things swept at the awards, and now they're sweeping movie tote bags.
They got all the movie tote bags.
I mean,
You know,
they're squeaking so much. It's fast.
They'll need the movie tote bags to carry all those Oscars.
Yeah.
That's what a movie tote bag is for.
And you know, while you're at this point, because we're acknowledging the fact that we've given movie tote bags to all of these awards. Honestly, this was a great show. This was one of the best Oscars we've had in a really long time. I feel.
I mean, it flew by. Or once.
It flew by. The 3 hours were utilized very well.
I gotta say, I give the entire night a movie tote bag. And that's saying something despite the mini Jimmy Kimmel tight fives that were hidden within it.
Kimmel was going a bit too far with some of these jokes. Like they were going too far. Like come on.
He wasn't even being funny. He was just like being mean.
Yeah. Like especially with RDJ. Like RDJ was literally like doing hand gestures, so like that's enough. But he just kind of went on with it still.
so when we say
pissed with that.
So when we give something a Jimmy Kimmel type 5, that's like what we're referring to. Jimmy Kimmel will come to your home and make you feel bad about yourself.
In comedy. You feel uncomfortable in your own house.
Yeah.
He'll make you want to leave your home.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also hated the comment he made about animation, which is the most tired shit ever. But yeah. Anyway, if we have anything more to say on production design, all right, best sound was Zone of Interest. Deserved.
Movie tote bag. 1000% movie tote bag. I mean, if it were to go to somewhere else, I'm like, yeah. But Zone of Interest was like, that's a well-deserved one. I don't think any other film could have gotten it.
Do we have anything if we feel? Do we have anything if we feel neutral about a decision?
Ooh, okay. A old a VHS of The Fox and the Hound. I don't know.
This is pretty VHS. This is pretty Foxhound VHS, in my opinion. I'm gonna go Foxhound. I'm gonna go Foxhound on this one. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why that's the first. All right, I guess that's. I thought I didn't know that would be established, but I guess it is. All right, fair enough.
All right.
Okay, so best original song. What Was I Made For from Barbie?
I think I'm gonna go tight. I'm going type 5 on this one.
Kimmel.
I agree. Jimmy Kimmel type 5.
I mean,
We're a hive mind.
didn't it show like when like Ryan Gosling was performing "I'm Just Ken" just further proves that that should have been the song that won.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
performance was the highlight of the night, Loki. Like it was so good that the people
was
who were
great.
at the Oscar party was like, okay, it's not topping that and left.
I mean, even Marty was
Yeah.
vibing to it. Come on now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Several people who were at the party was like, okay, that's what I was here for. And then they
Yeah.
left. I think we should have gone to I'm Just Kidding. Like,
Mm.
I've had mixed feelings about Barbie, uh, since especially during this award season because of all the dumb snub discourse. But I'm Just Kidding performance really just reminded me that at this heart, this is a comedy and it's fun. Should be fun. And the whole all the bullshit just I remembered that I want to formally recant my Barbie under Maestro of my list, and I want to put Barbie in front of Maestro.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So now there's a sync up in after the fact, but yeah, no, I think it should have gone to I'm Just Kidding. I will
Yeah.
say, What Was I Made For is one of the better Billie Eilish songs I've heard. Which I guess because to say I'm not a big fan of her, but but at the same time because of I'm Just Kidding, I gotta go. I gotta give Billie Eilish the Jimmy Kimmel Tight 5.
You hope Jimmy Kimmel comes to her home and performs a set at her house.
A tight 5. Let's go.
So between us, would Jimmy Kimmel be there for 15 minutes, or would he be there for like 5 minutes sporadically throughout the year?
Oh god.
You know, the victim gets to judge how they would prefer it, whether they want to spread it out or get it over with.
I think it's kind of more fun if they don't pick.
We'll
Like,
flip a coin then.
could you just imagine being like constantly on edge of like Jimmy Kimmel just like coming to your house and like performing a Type 5? Like just at your door?
Oh,
Well,
no.
I'm unless we have any more thoughts about it, I'm just gonna breeze through some of these categories. I don't think we have much to say. Best animated short film, War is Over. Best live action short film, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Best documentary short film, Last Repair Shot. And best documentary feature film, 20 Days in Maripol. You guys have anything to say on those? Congratulations to all these winners. I apologize for not being able to see their work yet.
I will say for all of these, I'm going Foxhound, except I will say for best documentary short, If Dreams Were Lightning, by Ramin Barani was snubbed. That one should have been there.
Okay.
Interesting. Oh, I will
Alright.
say, I was kind of glad that Wes Anderson finally won an Oscar. So
I am
good
happy
on
about that.
Wes. Yeah,
Good for Wes.
All right.
Maybe instead of Foxhound, I go movie tote bag on that one.
For the West win. Let's go.
Yeah, movie tote bag for the West win. All right. Best international feature film. The Zone of Interest wins.
Movie tote bag. Definitely. I will say I was kind of a bit pissed off when Jonathan Glazer was doing his speech and the people were just clapping and interrupting him. Let him finish his speech, then clap. That was very disrespectful. But
I wonder how many of them were trying to stop him from saying anything more about Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the speech that Jonathan gave at the Oscars still isn't uploaded in the Academy Awards YouTube channel, so it just shows.
Fucked up.
So dumb. Yeah, I mean, good on Jonathan Glazer. Jonathan Glazer seems like a cool person, and his speech is the main reason I'm not giving this the Jimmy Kimmel Type 5. And I'm instead going to give this a Fox and the Hound VHS.
Okay.
I really love Zone of Interest, and I respected it. But this is just a recent development because I've now seen another one of the best international feature film nominees, and I like that one better. We may get into it later in the podcast, but Society of the Snow is really good, guys.
Bayona made up for a Jurassic World, huh?
Yeah. But that's just my choice. So I think Zone of you know what? I'll give this a somewhere in between the Fox and the Hound VHS and the movie tote bag. Maybe maybe like I'll give this a Apple TV Plus tote bag.
Okay then.
All right.
Okay. Next up we have best adapted screenplay, American Fiction by Cord Jefferson.
Fox and Hound VHS. I'd say I'd go for that. I will say I did love his speech. I love Cord's speech in the Oscars. Pretty good.
I like the
I
speech
got
a lot. That's what's keeping me from giving this a Jimmy Kimmel type 5. He seems like a cool guy, and the
Yeah.
movie was good.
Yeah.
I gotta go Fox on VHS on this one. I haven't seen American Fiction, so I cannot judge.
Ooh, it's a good watch. You should definitely find some time to see it if you can. Really good
I
movie.
will.
I like
Maybe future episode. Who knows?
Best original screenplay, Anatomy of a Fall.
Movie tote bag. I mean, as soon as you mention Anatomy of a Fall, when I think of Anatomy of a Fall, I think of a movie tote bag. So easily. I'm pretty much happy with it. I mean, the fact that they even played the 50 Cent song when they won the award, I was like, hell yes. Okay, I'm happy with this win regardless of, holdovers losing. But yeah, happy with the win.
I gotta give this Fox and the Hound VHS because the holdovers lost. But
Yeah.
by the way, to everyone who hasn't been up to date, the holdovers was not plagiarized. If you look into it, it's a pretty bogus court case.
I go Foxhound.
All right.
All right.
Fox
See,
Hound.
there's 2 Foxhounds and there's 1 movie tote bag. So there's a difference on it.
Yeah. All
There you
right.
go.
I don't think there's gonna be a difference.
I got but I do have a I think I have a movie tote bag for all of us. Divine Joy Randolph winning Best Supporting Actress for The Holdovers.
Oh yeah, she deserves it.
Definitely
She deserves
deserve.
it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
She got that Oscar in that movie tote bag, baby.
Yeah, that
Let's
was a
go.
slam dunk. That was a slam
Yeah.
dunk for her.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, I loved her speech. She was. Yeah, her winning was a great way to start the night. Excellent stuff.
Definitely.
Oh, this one might be interesting. Best Actress Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Fox and Hound. I'm sorry. Like, I loved Emma Stone. She did deliver one of the best performances from last year. But I should have been happy. I mean, I am happy she won, but I was banking really hard on Lily Gladstone to get that award. And I'm pretty much all 3 of us would agree that we were banking hard on Lily Gladstone to take home that award to her movie tote bag. But it just wasn't time, I guess.
Honestly, I would have to go movie tote bag on this one. I have not seen Killers of the Flower Moon admittedly, but I think Emma Stone deserved that Oscar. Watching Poor Things was a transcendental experience, and Emma Stone's performance was a large part in that and in immersing us in the world because her performance as Bella Baxter was just so unbelievably incredible. So while I knew it was going to be between Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone, I was not going to be upset either way, and I'm not upset that it's Emma Stone. Movie tote bag.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, I agree. This was not an undeserving win because Emma Stone was fantastic. Oh no. I mean, I think on our last thing, you both said that your favorite was Emma Stone, but you wanted Lily Gladstone to win. My favorite, for me, wasn't Emma Stone; it was Lily Gladstone. I thought Lily Gladstone gave one of the most complex and heartbreaking performances of the year, and I don't know, they're both fantastic. So I can't give this a Jimmy Kimmel Tide 5 because it's deserved, but I do have to. I'm afraid I do have to give it a Fox and the Hound VHS.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's sad that something that we feel so amazing about has to give us mixed feelings, but yeah. Anyway, can we go on to something that I'm feel very happy about?
Yes.
Best animated feature: The Boy and the Heron, Hayao Miyazaki, and Suzuki.
Movie
Toshio
tote bag.
Suzuki. Movie tote bag.
Easy
Oh,
movie
yeah.
tote bag. The master
You might
deserved it.
even say Letterbox baseball cap.
Yeah, I think this is Movie Tote Bag with a letterbox baseball cap. It's so well deserved. I'm so glad Miyazaki got this.
And he probably hasn't even put his hands on it yet because he's chilling back home in Japan. I'll just get it shipped to him in a few weeks.
Yeah. Chris Hemsworth personally delivers it.
Oh god.
Yeah. I mean, some people will be like, "Oh, this is a Jimmy Kimmel Type 5 because Spider-Verse," but nah. This is so deserved.
I mean, if Spider-Verse won, it probably would have been a Fox and a Hound.
Yeah.
I felt the same.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't, I kudos for Christopher Miller for saying that, hey, if you're gonna lose, might as well lose to the greatest of all time. So
yeah.
at least some of the Spider-Verse team accepted it with grace.
Exactly.
Others felt robed.
That's how I felt going out of the town. I'm getting robed,
Oh man, that's crazy.
I can't wait to go to New York City again so we can get robed together.
You look forward to that?
I've never had that experience. I feel like New York might be a good place to have it.
Oh god.
And then maybe Spider-Man will save us.
I'm gonna stop.
He knows how it feels to get robed. He understands the pain.
I'm gonna film that when you come to New York again, and I'm gonna put it on the podcast YouTube channel.
Me getting robed?
Yeah, Castleman gets robed, caught on camera.
I'm just for real getting mugged, and you're just have your phone out recording.
Yeah, dude.
And like the guys are like, "Are you sure you want us to keep robbing your friends?" Like, yeah, no, it's great content, man. We need this to views.
I need to get robed.
Yeah, I actually paid the guys that were robing you to meet us at that exact corner.
Yeah.
It was all planned and blocked.
Yep. Anyway,
someone just messaged me that I have my movie tote bag is cute.
It's a sign.
I guess it's a sign.
That means your rating as a person is definitely movie tote bag and not a Jimmy Kimmel Type 5.
Yeah, you're the furthest thing from a Foxhound VHS.
I thought let's see here. Anyway, so if you guys have noticed, I've been skipping over certain categories. 7, in fact. Because those 7 happen to be the ones that took part in hashtag Sweepenheimer 2024.
Sweepenheimer.
Sweepenheimer.
We truly lived, because I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna rapid fire go through all of them, if that's all right. Best film editing, Oppenheimer, Jennifer Lame. Best cinematography, Oppenheimer, Hoyt van Hoytema. Best original score, Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson. Best supporting actor, Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer as Louis Strauss. Best actor, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer as J. Robert Oppenheimer. Best director for Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer. And best picture, Oppenheimer.
What a time. What a time to be alive.
That's 7 movie tote bags back to back?
I'd say that's 7 not even letterbox baseball caps. That's 7 IMAX baseball caps back to back.
IMAX
And,
baseball cap, Criterion tote bag, even
4K
Yeah.
4K Blu-ray, because the 4K is actually really good. Guys, Oppenheimer in 4K, please buy it. People have been scalping them. So
What if it's a 4K of the Fox and the Hound?
I mean, is there? I mean, you could search.
You know what? I'm doing that 4K Blu-ray Fox, and I doubt it because Disney doesn't really do that, and that's not
Okay.
like their most famous. Nope, it's just Blu-rays, so it doesn't exist. We
Bummer.
found
but
it
the Fox and the Hound VHSs do exist.
it does exist. Yeah, I'm
So
sure.
back
of it.
so back to Oppie.
Yeah,
Opie.
great movie. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Movie.
I don't know how much more we can say about it, and we'll probably have to say about it inevitably later in this podcast for a certain reason. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just happy for Christopher Nolan. He deserves this. Like,
Yeah.
and he's made so many great movies up to this point, and I'm just happy that Oppenheimer is definitely one of his better movies. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is it's his time, might as well finally give him the award. It feels like, yeah, it's his time, give him the award, and he also deserved it with this movie in particular, especially.
I agree. Everything you just said, pretty much. It's his year. It's Nolan's year. This is Nolan's one of his best movies he's ever made, and yeah, he deserves it.
The speech that he gave was beautiful. Him
It
getting like a
was
little bit emotional. Like we've never seen him like get emotional, but this is the closest that we'll ever get to see him get emotional.
soft Nolan,
Yeah.
which is great. I'm glad. Well, I honestly feel like right now there's not much more we can say about Oppenheimer. We all agree movie tote bags across the board.
IMAX baseball caps across the board.
IMAX baseball caps across the board. I think we should transition to the next side of this podcast. The other thing we were going to do. So there were a lot of really great movies that came out in 2023, as we said, and not a lot of them really got highlighted in our podcast. So we wanted to take some time and go ahead and talk about our favorite movies from the year, which are a lot of them going to inevitably be overlapping with what we spoke about in our Oscars podcast. But we'll have a lot of other things to say. So,
and we can just
we're gonna
either skip over those, or unless we have something new to say.
Exactly. So we'll be going through our top 20 of the year on Letterboxd one by one. So do you guys have your Letterboxd list pulled up?
I do.
It's ready.
You guys want
All
to
right.
say our list, and then because sometimes for some reason some of these might sync. So do you guys just want to say our list at this? Say each of our picks one by one, and then we delegate who gets to talk.
Let's do that.
So we each say our 20 pick, and then we each talk about it, and then our 19, etc.
Okay.
Let's do
All
that.
right. So what do we have for our 20, gang?
So I would like to go first because my number 20 is just a hilarious movie to juxtapose against the last film we just spoke about. My number 20 is Andy Muschietti's masterpiece, The Flash. So
Flush this down the toilet.
All right, Flashback, rise up. We are here. We exist. There are people that love this movie. The Flash is a film truly unlike any other, where I've gotten kind of experienced all ranges of emotion with it. Where I've thought it was like the worst movie ever, and then I thought it was like the best movie ever and secretly genius. And then I kind of, came back around on the worst movie ever, and I kind of looked at it as like The Room. But right now, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I have it at 3.5 stars. I think that feels right for me right now because I have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of this film. I've seen it a lot of times because I've just shown it to different people. This is a really funny movie to just sit down with your friends and just show them and get their reaction to it because it's gonna be like hilarious either way. It's a very flawed film. It's very, very flawed, and a lot of it doesn't really work. But on some primal level, as someone who enjoys the Flash as a character a lot, it just kind of did something for me, and it was just really cool to see this character on the screen, on the big screen. What do you guys think?
I mean, I like the Flash. I'm one of the people who like the Flash. So even though like it's on the lowest of my on my list, fun movie. I think I have it at 3 stars at least. But I think we're the only we're the only people here who like it except Mr. Castleman.
Oh yeah.
Um, so Castleman, what do you think of the Flash?
Um, I enjoyed Schwarzenegger and DeVito talking to Keaton at the Oscars way more than I enjoyed any Batman scene in The Flash.
So I will say this. We'll probably talk about this inevitably some other time. But I don't like the DCEU Batman like at all. Batman v Superman is one of my least favorite movies ever, if not
How
maybe
dare
like
you, sir?
yeah.
How dare you, sir? I like that movie.
How
But
dare you?
yeah,
I think
well,
that movie is kind of all right.
we have the whole range of emotions on Batman v Superman on this podcast. So that being said, this is my favorite usage of Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne. Honestly, I think the suit is god awful for his Batman in this movie, but in terms of Bruce Wayne, I like the way he plays it. Uh, I also really like the Flash suit, and I like the score for the theme run, and I really like that first scene where he travels back in
Benjamin
time.
Wallfish.
Benjamin Wallfish, a secret genius, and Henry Graham, the director of photography, very good, very very good. I think this is a very good looking movie. Besides some of the CGI.
Well, I you know what? We're talking about our top 20s, and we're trying to be positive, so I'm not gonna say anything else about this movie.
All right, and we have a Flash episode at some point coming up with a special guest, so
You know,
we'll hear
Prepare to
more
get
about this another
flushed.
time.
the special guest will be my absence.
All right.
I'll be there. Okay. So you want to say yours, Renzo?
Okay, so my number 20, one of the most action-packed fun experiences. It does one of my favorites, definitely. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, Part 1.
Ooh.
Yeah. Tom deserves to be on the list, and I was really happy with this movie despite one aspect of a character getting fridged. But you know what, Tom? I will follow you with your weird Scientology stunt aspects, but love you,
Movies,
Tom.
popcorn.
Definitely. Come on, he gave us that. Without this movie, he wouldn't say movies pop.
Yeah. My number 20, if you're done, is
I'm done.
Anatomy of a Fall.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, you got it low.
Well, I actually got to say this was like for my Toma 20 was hard because I had a lot of movies that I like sort of rated all the same, and so like it was either this or Zone of Interest or Knock at the Cabin or Creed 3 actually. But I decided Anatomy of a Fall probably. I don't know. I like court case movies. I just really do. Even though, yeah, I even like court case movies where all the lawyers are wearing silly outfits, which I guess is how legal procedurals are like in France. Which I'm glad I don't live in France, but
The France hate begins on this podcast. Do they wear silly outfits in this movie?
No, yeah, like all the lawyers in France apparently wear silly robes while they prosecute and
Come on,
defend themselves.
there's the sexy lawyer in Anatomy of a Fall. Come on.
I mean, but yeah, he's wearing a silly robe. He would look so much better in a suit.
Okay, fair point.
It's a silly robe. It has little frills, and when another guy is in a red robe, he looks like he's, I don't know, weird.
More aggressive Simon Pegg. I call him more aggressive Simon Pegg lawyer.
Anyway, yeah, that's my 20. I talked about it already on the Oscars episode, but good movie. I'm glad it won best screenplay.
Yeah.
So what's your number 19, Castleman?
My number 19 is Blackberry.
Oh,
Good movie. Good
I saw this
movie.
movie on a plane. I gotta say, this is the best movie I've ever seen on a plane. So,
wow,
you know,
that's big praise.
I've only seen like maybe 6 movies on a plane, but this is the best one. Very good
Mhm.
movie. Glenn Howerton and Jay Baruchel were excellent. I really liked how, unlike a lot of these like um, corporate driven like history of a product type movies that you've gotten after The Social Network, this is the first one that's kind of like gets it, that it's like, oh yeah, these
Mhm.
movies should be about how this system sucks and isn't great, and this movie gets it. And this movie is really good. I liked it a lot.
It is. It is. I saw it at a theater early last year, and really amazed with the performances. The direction is actually really good. Shout out to Wendy who listens to the podcast. She really loves this movie. So Wendy, here's a shout out to Blackberry.
Shout out
Yeah.
Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Yeah. And then I have a question. Did you guys ever own a BlackBerry?
My brother did.
I did. So I owned a BlackBerry. So this
Dude,
one was kind of like this hits.
I was like 8 when the BlackBerry came out. Like, why do you need a BlackBerry when you're 8?
Well, in high school, I
What?
had the
I mean,
BlackBerry.
yeah, I
So
didn't have an iPhone at the time. I didn't have a phone at the time. My brother did because he was older than me. And he had a
Mm,
BlackBerry.
I
What
see.
business was he conducting on the BlackBerry?
I don't know. Sometimes he let me borrow it.
There you
Did you play
go.
any games on it?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. My number 19 was Bottoms.
I did not see that.
Um, I really
I've
like
seen
Bottoms, though. Upon review of this list, this is kind of old. I would swap this with my number 18 pick. Bottoms was really fun, and I love Ayo Edebiri in everything. I just watched The Bear for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and that kind of changed my life a little bit. So I think if I watch this movie, I would actually give it at least more of a half star because I just love Ayo even more than I did back when I first watched this.
All right.
Nice.
I will check it out. I just haven't on it. I guess maybe go ahead while we're talking about our picks and make sure the rest of your list is in order. Um,
My go ahead. Sorry.
no, I said what's your 19?
Okay, my number 19 is Priscilla. I think I'm the only
Ooh.
one over here who saw Priscilla.
I think
I
you
wanted
are.
to watch that.
Great direction from Sofia Coppola. I think it's one of my faves that she's made. Kaylee Spaney was really good in this movie, and between the two Elvises, Austin Butler and Jacob Elordi, I think Jacob Elordi is the better Elvis. I don't know. I prefer a way more quiet Elvis than an Elvis who just like freaking explodes all the time.
You don't want to pick Nabaran Fade Rautha over this guy?
This is
Over
a
the
different
guy from
story.
Boy?
This is a different story. This one's way more quiet. It doesn't go for the like giganticism of like Elvis. This is Sophia's this is Priscilla's story and how she feels lonely and how she's not really getting most of her life and that she just feels very small compared to what heights Elvis was going. And I do think that was like something like fascinating to watch for me. And the use of like spaces that Sophia does in Priscilla really like shows how much Priscilla felt like lonely when Elvis is out like making movies or doing tours. And it's honestly one of the better directed films from last year, and I applaud Sophia for that. And I don't think any other director could have done it but her. So kudos to Sophia Coppola for that. Yeah, that
Sweet.
is my number 19.
Detail.
Yeah. Number 18?
Yeah, I will say if any of you guys have a similar pick as someone else when they say it, just say it. Just saying that for the future.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, so I guess it's me. My number 18 is The Killer.
Mm.
David Fincher. He reliably always makes really interesting looking movies that I feel like this one would have like a risk of feeling, too generic, but like the way it's shot is so hypnotic
Uh-huh.
and like the editing is so great and I was just glued to the screen. And like the other things that I could have a problem for this don't quite hold up because I was just so invested, because even if the story wasn't like the best or the most original, it was just made so well that I did not care. Um, Great movie, great performances. Yeah.
There you go.
My number 18, and which should have been my number 19, but I'm going to stick by this list, is Wonka. So I think I've grown a lot more sour on this movie as time has gone on.
Wow, not sweet, huh?
Not sweet. I think everything about this movie is great except Timothée Chalamet. And I've forgiven him after seeing Dune Part 2.
Mm.
But I'm sorry, Timothée Chalamet was so miscast in this film, and it really just draws my attention away from like everything else. And everything else is done very well. I think the songs are pretty good. I think some of the performances are good. I think, it's quite silly as a concept, Timothée Chalamet learning how to read while being Willy Wonka. But I feel like another actor could have done this better. I think the script
Dominic
is
Sessa.
fine. Dominic Sessa. My pick for this was Jeremy Allen White. I think Jeremy Allen White would totally morph into Gene Wilder at some point later in life.
Yes, chef.
You know what? If Jeremy
So,
Allen White was performing the I don't know how to read scenes, maybe it would have more of an interesting like irony to it. I don't know.
yeah.
I just gotta say that when I found out, oh yeah, Wonka can't read is going to be a subplot in this movie, that's when I clocked out. I think I was like, I don't think this movie's going to work for me.
Yeah.
Too whimsical.
But that's all I got to say about Wonka.
All right. My number 18 is another movie that you guys haven't seen. It's called La Chimera, and it stars Josh O'Connor from The Crown fame, and he's gonna be in a new movie starring with Zendaya and Mike Face, directed by Luca Guadagnino. So back to La Chimera, one of the most beautiful films that I've seen last. Like honestly, like at first I think I gave this movie 4 stars, but the more I thought about it, the more I kind of want to rewatch it. Bear in mind, this movie can get a bit slow, but I just like the weirdness of it all. It's set in like Italy in the 80s, and it can get pretty weird, but it's the right amount of weird that I actually like. So, plus it has an interesting plot, like grave digging in the 80s. So, plus Josh O'Connor really speaks good Italian, surprisingly. So, yeah, I can't wait to see this movie again when it's out in theaters. Highly recommend. One of the most beautiful shot movies from last year as well. And we're gonna transition to our number 17, ladies and gentlemen, or gentlemen. Um, which
So
one wants to go first?
my number 17 is the movie that makes you go from gamer to racer. Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo.
Good
This is
movie.
this is unironically one of the best video game adaptations.
Mm.
To choose Gran Turismo of all things to adapt into a movie is a tall task. I've never played a Gran Turismo game. I have no idea
Mhm.
what the story is, if there even is one. I know it's just a car sim.
Yeah.
But to turn that into a film and to choose a real life story about a kid that really liked the games and was given the chance to become a race car driver is genuinely a fascinating concept. And this film is just honestly just really competently made.
Yeah.
And it was well directed, well acted. The story was great. Orlando Bloom was great as the guy. Forgot his name, but I had a lot of fun with it. What else was Jan, the actual guy that this is based on, was a stunt driver in the film, which is so cool to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, about I have all I have to
I
say.
I liked Gran Turismo too. I think I gave it 4 stars. Really surprised me on how good Gran Turismo was. It's sadly not on my top 20. It's in the lower ranks, but I saw this movie twice. That's how I like this movie. So if I see a
Wow.
movie twice, that means I really liked it. And it's one of the better video game adaptations out there. Like I love the meta nature of it, wherein like yes, they're adapting the video game, but at the same time they added the biopic aspect of it. Some of it is fictional. They kind of in any movie they do that with any biopic, but it's really fun. I was literally at the edge of my seat watching it the first time. So yeah, highly recommend if you guys get a chance to watch it.
I have not seen it.
You,
All
you
right.
you're gonna be like, I know this track once you seen the movie.
I know the track.
I've raced it 1,000 times. Okay. My number 17 is another movie that I saw from last year, called Red Rooms. Um, one of the scariest films that I've seen from her, actually. Um, it is a very heavy subject matter film. It tackles the dark areas of the internet and how dangerous it could be, and the obsession of being in that area of the internet. It's it tackles also the obsession on true crime, which is excellent. I don't want to say much, but yeah, truly effective, horrifying film that reminds us that these things do exist in the internet, and I'm kind of glad that I don't get to explore that aspect of the internet. So, that's my number 17. Castleman, what is your number 17?
My number 17 is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Ooh, Tom, let's
Hmm.
go.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am a big Mission Impossible guy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, huge Mission Impossible guy. Um, I think Mission Impossible Fallout was like in my top 4 of 2018 or something like that. Which I do think is the best in the series. I do feel like this film sort of suffers from a one of the greatest one in the series sort of drop off. Because
Mm.
this one is not as good as Fallout. It's really really well made and really entertaining and just I really had a great time with it. It does have an unfortunate story choice it makes that I felt was weird and did not work for me, and I could get into it, but I won't because it's pretty spoilery. All I'll say is like you'll know exactly if you're familiar with Mission Impossible, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a story choice that they made that did not work for me, and did not feel developed enough. And it's like the big thing that's keeping this movie from being as that's keeping this movie as low as it is. I had a great time watching it. I saw it in IMAX with two of my best buds, Izzy and Alex, and yeah, it was a great time. The only drawback to that experience was that I found that at the exact same theater in the exact same room we saw it in. The
Mhm.
next day, Tom Cruise showed up as like a surprise,
Wow.
You could have
and
you
it's
could have you could have
and if I
seen
had just
Mr.
decided to
Movies.
see it on the day of release instead of the early screening, I could have met Tom Cruise, and that upsets me a little bit.
Wow.
Mr. Movies himself.
So I have not seen any Mission Impossible movies except this one, and I have it at number 14 on my list.
Well, you just spoiled it.
So yeah, I just spoiled it, but I'm not really going to talk much about it. It's fine. I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I am definitely open to checking out the rest of them.
All right. Do we move on to 16?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start then. My number 16 is The Killer by David Fincher. I truly enjoyed this film. I've seen it twice, so that's another proof that I like this film. It was so good that it made me realize, yeah, the original source material of The Killer wasn't that good, and David Fincher managed to make it way more interesting than the source material itself. The use of sound was pretty good. The using a lot of Smith's songs actually a good highlight. Overall, it's not peak Fincher, but it's one of his enjoyable movies, and I could see myself watching it whenever I'm bored. So that's all I have to say for The Killer. So, Emil, what is your number 16?
My number 16 is Barbie. Despite everything, I had a really fun time watching Barbie. I think it's a really important movie. I think it's really great that this movie exists, and I love a lot of things about it. Particularly Ryan Gosling. He's great. Yeah,
I
Barbie.
think Barbie is a really fun movie. I have it at 25 on my list.
I have Barbie at 39 at my
Oh.
list. That's how low it
Wow.
is.
So Winzo,
Wow.
why do you
Mhm.
hate the empowerment of women?
Oh, what? Cut the recording. What? Your words, Joseph, not
I'm
mine.
just, I'm just judging you.
I know, I know. I'm Just
Well,
Ken was a good song. Okay,
Yeah.
when I think about Barbie, I think about I'm Just Ken and the color pink, and you know Margot Robbie killing it,
Yeah.
like producing and everything. Yeah.
Anything more about Barbie you want to say, Mo?
not really, honestly.
Yeah, I think we talked
Watch our
about
podcast. Watch our
Yeah.
watch our other podcast.
episode 2.
On-
Episode 2, the Oscars. All
So
right.
Castleman,
Okay.
what is your
My,
16?
my 16 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Mm.
Uh, this movie was a lot of fun. It was grimy. It was just so much fun. The animation style was fantastic. I just want to say from this movie onwards, all the movies I on this list for me are 4.5 stars up. That's how good this year for movies was. Um, and yeah, this looked so unique. I loved how rough it looked. I loved how the textures and the voice acting was great. I like genuinely the worst thing I can say about it was the pop culture references made me roll my eyes a bit, but otherwise, I really love this new era of 3D animation that we're in. It's very unique and very fun. And I hope we get more movies that push the limits of their styles like this one does.
So I'll actually baton pass that over to number 15 because my number 15 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which we actually saw together.
Yeah, we did.
We did see that one together. I really liked it as well. It was a really fun movie. I really like the new turtles. I kind of like the fact they're more like actually kids. At least they felt more like kids or like teenagers. I thought that it felt really real and fun. I really liked the um I, I really liked Splinter. Not Splinter. What's the name of the rat? Splinter, right?
Yeah, Splinter.
Master Splinter.
Yeah, Master Splinter. I liked Master Splinter in this one.
Plus Io's in
Um,
this one, right?
and Io is in this one, so Io's shown up twice now.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah,
Very
great, really fun movie. I will say the third act is kind of drags a little bit.
Yeah, I did feel that. I saw.
Third act kind of drags a little bit, and I agree with the pop culture reference thing being a little bit too much. That being said, I really am glad that one of the turtles does wear a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure hoodie.
I really love like the adventure, the sort of arc that these turtles have in terms of wanting to go to high school and like I mean the pop culture references are much, but they make sense within the story.
Yeah.
because they were raised on pop culture. That's all, their only real connection to human society. It makes sense. I just was annoyed by it.
Yeah.
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 Did you say
So
you're 16,
Renzo,
Mel?
yeah, my 16 was Barbie.
Oh.
So I
brain's
baton passed it to the next one.
my brain's
So
broken. Yeah. Yeah.
Castleman, what's your 15, Castleman?
My 15 is Evil Dead Rise.
Oh.
This movie, look, it was already proven beforehand, but this movie continues to prove it. The best horror franchise, and there's no contest, is Evil Dead. Evil Dead is the best horror franchise, and there's no word for anything otherwise, because every single one is good. There's not a single one of these that I would call bad. They're all fantastic films that just really, really deliver on everything that you could hope for in terms of a horror comedy or just horror gnarliness. I mean, you gotta make sure you're ready for a lot of crazy shit, but they just smack you in the face with it, and it is awesome. So yeah, no, I mean Sam Raimi's original trilogy to the remake to this, they're all great, really great movies, and this continues with the legacy. Big fan.
Elisa Sutherland, I have to say. Mother.
Sutherland.
She was mothering.
She was the whole.
she was mothering in that movie.
She was mothering in that movie. She was a holy mountain in that film.
I guess it was all Kobe's fault, but
What, Kobe? Like Kobe?
Kobe
What?
from One Piece.
Oh,
Kobe.
I thought you meant like Kobe Bryant. Oh my god, I know what you mean.
No, the
I was
Morgan
like,
Davies. He was the kid who summoned the Necronomicon.
I was like, what's Kobe got to do with this? Star player of the Los Angeles Lakers, man.
Oh god.
You didn't get the reference, and you're the one who got me into One Piece. How dare you?
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, Morgan Davies plays Kobe in the live-action One Piece. For those who don't understand.
Okay. My number 15 is American Fiction. I think I've said all that I could say. To fiction. You guys should watch it. Highly recommend. So I will be baton passing this to Castleman, number 14, because I do think you guys would be bringing out your pitchforks once you find out what's my number 14.
Interesting.
Oh man.
My number 14 is Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves.
Good movie.
This movie was so much fun, and it was so pure, and it was so funny, while at the same time genuinely knowing when to turn into something that was emotional and genuine. And this was fantastic, man. It was like this just rocking good time. And I always just think about how you see that Bradley Cooper, this was Bradley Cooper's best live action performance of the year, by the way. Where Bradley Cooper just shows up as like a halfling, and it's funny at first, but then it turns into a genuinely emotional scene. And that tone juggling is the sort of thing I love. And this movie pulled it off beautifully. I said this on the last episode, but this movie feels it has the tone of just your regular asshole sitting around a table playing Dungeons and Dragons. It has that feeling, that vibe to it, and it's fantastic, my guys. This movie is just an absolute blast. Good cast, good arc, fun action. Inventive filmmaking, practical effects. Low key, this has it all. I don't know what else I could have asked for a fun time in the movies.
I saw this in the theaters due to your recommendation, and I would agree. This is a really good movie. One thing I did not expect about this movie was it made me tear up.
I know the movie, the ending made me tear up.
I'm like, wow, I can't believe a Dungeons and Dragon movie did that to me. But yeah, good movie.
Wow.
Chris Pine, my favorite Chris out of all the Hollywood Chris's.
Of all the
I want like
Chris's.
5 sequels to this movie.
Yeah. Emil, what's your 14?
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, 2023.
So are you gonna elaborate on it or
No, I don't think I will. I don't feel like it's my place. I don't feel like it's my place to, honestly. I've only
Okay.
seen this one.
Okay, guys, please don't hit me with your pitchforks.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
My number 14 is The Boy and the Heron.
Ooh,
I'm sorry.
Kafka. I'm pulling
We
out
don't
my
have to talk about it.
pitchfork. I'm pulling out my pitchfork right now. Hold
I'm
on, let me
sorry.
just. All right, I got
You
it.
know, Kaka, maybe it's time to call in Jimmy Kimmel to your place.
Hey,
He has 5 minutes of material he can't wait to deliver you.
Listen, this movie I can appreciate for what it was. I'm happy all of you love this movie. Maybe it just hasn't connected with me yet. Okay? Maybe in a given time, a couple years down the line, I will appreciate it as much as you guys did.
maybe
for
one
now-
day.
But for
Maybe one
now,
day I'll like this movie.
no, I like this movie. I give this movie 4 stars, and I think it's real. And I am happy that Hayao Miyazaki won this award as well. Please, guys,
It's all-
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be sorry about my opinions, but
No, I think you should actually.
I wish I loved this movie as
man.
much. But yeah,
Just
you
one-
guys will further elaborate on this movie, and please don't hurt me with your pitchforks once you talk about Boy in the Heron that you're higher ranked.
Renzo,
part.
I feel like you're like that one image of a miner digging for gold, or like diamonds or whatever, and he like just it's like a little bit away. I think you're one rewatch away from loving this movie, Renzo. I really believe that. I think we should do a boy. I think we need to do a Boy in the Heron episode to settle this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
if I'm gonna
Oh,
change my 4 stars,
We'll see.
Hey,
We'll see.
They said they're putting it back in theaters.
hey,
for-
then again,
for
I haven't
Blu-rays.
I haven't seen the English dub of this movie, so
Oh come on, man! Robert Pattinson as the Heron is
I
so
know,
good.
I know. I saw it on the Japanese dub, so
Yeah, the Japanese
Yeah.
is great too.
It was good. Well,
Um,
I'm gonna move on to my 13. Unless you guys want to go first.
No, go ahead.
okay. You know what? I want to be tortured. Do I? This is another disappointment, but it's a banger. The Holdovers is number 14. Number 13.
That's what I thought you were gonna say for the last one.
Dude.
The Holdovers is number 13. Love this movie. Love this movie, but there were other movies that speaks more to my heart, guys. I love this movie. Don't torture me
Wow.
for it.
I got the you hear that, Renzo? That's the pitchfork.
I'm lining my Molotov cocktail right now.
I
Dude,
am only
I got Jimmy Kimmel on speed dial right now.
so I'm getting a pitchfork and Kimmel. A
You're
Kimmel
getting a
type
Kimmel
five.
brandishing a flaming fork.
As he delivers as he delivers his type 5.
So
Low
please don't
key,
bring out the green flannel.
Loki, I think the Jimmy Kimmel's Titan 5 bit is a better bit than any bit I've heard from Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Please don't bring out the green flannel. That's all I'm saying.
No. Hey, it's also film is an art form that's subjective, and I don't really.
But this no man. Okay.
Look, it's a number 13, and 13 is my favorite number. So you know what?
All right.
Be happy with that.
So my number 13 is an interesting pick for me Um. My number 13 is "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret."
Really?
Wait, I think this is the only time in this podcast we're going to talk about this movie, probably. Can we please tell the story of how you watched this? Or you tell the story of what led you to watch this film?
Um. What was it? Was
We
it
were on
because we
Letterboxd.
was on Letterbox?
We were on Okay, I'll say it. We were on Letterboxd one day on a call, the three of us. And I think we just were looking through Hans Zimmer's.
Yeah, it was Hans Zimmer's. We're just looking at
Looking,
what is Hans Zimmer doing, and then we
yeah.
saw that like. Hold on, let me find his discography. I believe. Yeah, Hans Zimmer. Let me look at this real quick. Like, I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah. Um. Yeah, like the only movie we saw that he had coming up was "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret," which we all know what Hans Zimmer is famous for, right? It's for like these big, epic, sweeping scores, and like sometimes he does something a little different, but mainly it's like action and stuff like that. Nolan movies. Now he's on Denis Villeneuve's payroll, stuff like that. So now the fact that we have a Nolan movie. I mean, now we just have a Zimmer composition for "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." I gotta tell you, I did not notice the score in this movie at all. But
Oh
was
my
the movie
god.
fantastic? Yes, it was. This was a great, lovely coming of age movie that had this lovely 70s style. And I just want to say, Kelly Freeman Craig, the director, is genuinely one of my favorite directors working today because her last film before this was The Age of 17 with Haley Steinfeld, which is another film I deeply love. And I'm just excited for whatever else she has next because I think she's a really talented filmmaker. Um, and yeah, so "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." I will say, um, a bit of an awkward movie to be watching if you're by yourself, but I remember I walked into this movie theater because I think I was coming home from a set, and there just happened to be a movie theater that was on my way. It was the same movie theater that I saw Past Lives at, actually, and so I just stopped by there on my way home, and there was a showtime that was just on time, so I just walked in and I watched because this was right before I was about to go out of theaters. And so I just sat down and I watched "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret," and I had a really good time. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And basically I just uh it was a really well done movie. I think Abby Ryder Fordston, who plays the lead, is a really good actress. I'm looking forward to see where she goes next. She plays Ant-Man's daughter in the Ant-Man movies, but she was great in this. So yeah, this is just a super solid movie. You might feel awkward watching it, but you'll be glad you did. It's not just for middle school girls. It's a sweet movie regardless.
Cool.
Emil, what's your number 13?
My number 13 is actually Scream 6. This is
Okay, go ahead.
this is such a great movie. It's like such a great entry into the Scream franchise. Scream is one of those series that it just combines two things I love: slasher movies and murder mysteries, and just does it so well. It has a formula, does it well. It kind of reminds me of like Rocky. I really enjoyed this one. I actually watched it in 3D. Yeah, it was really, really good. I love the New York setting. Now living here, though I did not watch this while I lived in New York, which is funny. This had some of the most interesting kills. This is really cool reinvention of the franchise, and definitely felt more like it deserved to exist than the previous film, or which I kind of just was like, I could go either way on. It was, just another Scream movie. But this one added a lot to the franchise and was a lot more creative than the previous one.
Cool. I've only ever seen the first and second Scream. Um, I'm not a big Scream fan. I appreciate for what they were. That's all I have to say for Scream. I have not seen the other Scream movies, so that's all I have to say for Scream.
Good movie. The new one.
Mm. All right, so I'm gonna transition to number 12, if that's okay. My number 12 is "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." Higher than the holdovers.
Oh
Wow.
wow! I mean, they're both
Wow.
coming of age films set in the 1970s. If you think about it.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh.
So
Um,
I guess we're both in the I guess we're both for Margaret Sweet. You know.
Margaret Sweet. Honestly, I wish this movie made more money. The cast is stellar. I mean, hell, I mean, I loved Oppenheimer, but honestly, I think this was the better role for Benny Safdie, in my opinion. I don't know, man.
Hmm.
He was just a cool dad in this one. Like, his dad energy in this movie was off the charts. And Rachel McAdams, please marry me. Marry me. Marry me, Rachel. Please. I love you.
Aw.
So, Castleman, what's your number 12?
Hmm, Emil, can you say your 12 first?
So I have one that I don't think any of you guys have on your list.
Okay.
Definitely not this high. I got Blue Beetle at number 12.
Ooh, that high, huh?
Yeah, I really liked Blue Beetle. As a person who is Puerto Rican, this movie meant a
Mhm.
lot to me. Uh, and also, I met the director of this movie, and he said some really inspirational words, and he really gave me some really, he said some really beautiful things to me about filmmaking, and just really inspired me like a lot to continue, and gave me a lot of confidence in myself in a very short interaction. But yeah, it was just I really liked it. I had a lot of fun. I think it was so well cast. I think the script was a lot of fun. It had a lot of energy. It reminded me a lot of the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie in all the best ways. Also, a Chapulin, fantastic. Yeah, I like Blue Beetle.
I
Zoom.
I liked it quite a bit. I think the only thing keeping me from liking it as much as I could have is I felt like the story's a little too generic, but I think it worked. It was I think it was a very solid, fun movie.
And also, this was the
Yeah,
first movie I watched when I was in New York, so it kind of has
Hmm.
a little bit of sentimental value to me.
there you go.
All right, understandable.
I'm not part of the Beetle Hive, but I thought it was okay
the
as well.
the Beetle Hive.
The Beetle
You know,
Hive.
one of us loved it, one of us really liked it, and one of us thought it was okay. You know, perfectly
Yeah,
balanced.
as all things should be.
Yeah.
So, okay, my number 12, guys, and I'm like gonna gush for a little bit because this one's fresh in my mind because I just saw it today for the first time.
All right.
Um, guys, and I'm glad that this is like the last 2023 film I guess I caught before this sort of a finality of this recording this because guys, Society of the Snow is so good. Like, it's insanely good. It was gripping, dude. And yeah, this is why I'm not. I like Zone of Interest, but this is my favorite foreign film because, man, the way that they were able to deliver the absolute gut wrenching horror of these kids' experience of the people who are on this plane, and like this movie is bleak, dude, guys. It's so bleak and horrific and just oh man. But at the same time, there's almost like this uh something to admire about its brutality because it doesn't feel hopeless or cynical. Um, it just feels real, and it feels like this movie is showing you the worst of what humanity has to do to survive, while also showing you why it's worth for them surviving in the first place. I can't sing this movie's praises enough. Like, it could be a 5 bang. I just have to think about it some more. This is pretty fresh in my mind. But it's a near perfect movie. Jay Boyona, I mean, he got stuck in Hollywood for a little bit with the Jurassic Park or whatever, but I'm glad I hope he makes more movies like this, because this is a great one. Yeah. I don't know if I want to say anything more, but I just highly, highly recommend it. It's heartbreaking and heart-wrenching in all the right ways. Just be prepared for some stuff. Don't. This is not a movie to eat anything as you watch it.
Oh boy.
Do not curl up with a nice meal as you turn this on.
Oh, see.
Yeah, make sure you're watching this far removed from any substantial meal.
Okay, that's kind of horrifying.
But yeah, great movie. I could gush about it for some more, but I don't want to take too much time, especially because seeing neither of you have seen it. All I can say is that if you trust my recommendations, give it a watch. Just make sure you're in the right mood.
Gotcha. So, shall we move on to number 11?
Let's go.
So I'll start off. My number 11 was Creed 3. Creed 3 was kind of a magical experience to watch in the theaters. I watched it at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Very interesting crowd, a lot of gym bros, but I had such a blast. This is like watching Dragon Ball Z in live action the way it should be, or like an anime movie or something. It was so great. Michael B. Jordan in his directorial debut did such an excellent job, and he had such a specific feel for this movie. Sorry, that was a cough. Yeah, and also Jonathan Majors, bad person, great role, great performance in this film. He was such a terrifying villain in this, and yeah, I think it's definitely the weakest of the Creed movies, but I guess that just goes to show how great the Creed movies are, that even the worst one is still number 11 of the year for me.
Yeah. I just want to say that this movie, Creed 3, barely missed my list because it was 21.
Oh, wow.
Creed 3 is number 29. List.
Wow.
So, are you done with Creed 3?
I'm done with Creed 3.
Good movie. Shout out to my friend Peyton who worked on it. She's on it. She worked on it as an intern.
Shut up.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. She actually got a picture of Michael B. Jordan.
Whoa.
But shout out her. But my number 11 is Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, this movie is okay. Now we're not quite in the films that I have 5 stars. But this is these last. I have like 2 more that are 4.5, but these are the ones that are like so close to 5 stars. Like if I watch them again, I think they'll be 5 stars because they're so good. Like the worst thing I can say about, again, I think I said this on the last podcast. The worst thing I can say about this movie is that it's too long for me to have the time to watch it again. And that's I don't agree with Jimmy Kimmel's silly runtime jokes or anything. This movie took the time it needed to take. It's a daunting task to watch it, but it's 100% worth it. And I implore everyone who hasn't seen it to watch it. Lily Gladstone should have won, in my opinion.
As we discussed earlier.
Yes.
Okay. My number 11 is a movie from France called The Animal Kingdom. This is my second favorite film from last year's festival in Vancouver. Think of the X-Men, but in a way more grounded scenario. We're in you know how in the X-Men when like they have their mutations and they become like the superheroes and they barely tackle on what like a real family would have to face when their son or their loved one is turning into a mutant. So this is very like a very realistic approach to it. One of the most poignant and beautiful films that I've seen last year. It really struck a chord with me, and I'm not really like when it comes to movies that are basically like relationships to their parents. I am more leaning into the mother and son bonding, but this one is more focused on a father and his son. And there is one particular moment in this movie that really just like knocked me out on how good it was. The bond between the father and the son in this was just like, wow, that's beautiful. You can make something this impactful and this beautiful just with these two people. Like really, oh man, I love this movie. It's a plot that's been done to death, but the execution and just the pure emotions that I felt watching this movie was incredible. I highly recommend The Animal Kingdom. It was one of my favorites from last year. So that's what I have to say for my number 11.
Sweet. Shall we move on to number 10?
We're in the top 10 now, boys.
Here we
Top
go.
10. Woo!
Okay, who wants to go first?
Castleman, you want to go first?
Sure. My number 10 was Suzume.
Oh.
Yeah, so Suzume, directed by Makoto Shinkai, who you guys probably know from Your Name, and Weathering a Few. This was his latest film, and I loved it. I do. This is one of the movies where I say I still have not watched it again since I saw it, but it left a definite impact. And Makoto Shinkai, like since Your Name, he's kind of gotten a little bit of a backlash because some people say his stories are all similar. I defended Weathering a Few because I think I read that film a lot differently than a lot of people did. But it did still have like the main plot was like a romance between a young boy and a young girl. And people have been saying Suzume is a similar vein, and those people are dumb. This movie is not a romance. This movie is 100% about the trauma and tragedy from the natural disasters that happened in Japan in the early 2010s. About the 3/11 disaster. And this is about the children who survived that and how it feels for them all these years later. And yeah, there's like certain things that you can tell this is a Makoto Shinkai film, but like I feel it's very different in terms of what it's trying to say. And I think it's a definite shakeup, and I'm excited to see what he does after this because again, like the worst thing most people have for him as criticism as an animation director is his scripts, because his animation is always stunning. Like it's always absolutely gorgeous and absolutely beautiful, and his vistas and scenery and everything, and it all comes together. And this film, I think, it definitely was better than Weathering a Few, and is probably his best alongside Your Name. Not as quite as great as that one, because I feel like that Your Name is a bit of a lightning in a bottle type movie, but this one is fantastic. Really hits hard. Yeah. So Zume is my number 10.
Okay, cool. What about you, Renzo? What's your number 10?
Okay, my number 10 is might be the last greatest MCU movie that we that we'll ever have in a very long time. My number 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Beautiful movie. Like James Gunn crafted one beautiful emotional body horror experience with this one. Like, man, this movie made me tear up quite a lot this time around. And ooh, yeah, I mean, Volume 3 reminded me how great it is to watch an MCU movie. Like, if this like I've said for my review, like I'm good with this being my last MCU in a very long time. And if Bradley Cooper got nominated for Rocket Raccoon, I would have liked that better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
A
I
raccoon
agree.
made me cry, and just a perfect end for James Gunn's run. I'm very happy how this film turned out in the end. So that's all I have to say for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I know you guys would be talking about this way more. So I'm yeah, number 10,
Well,
Guardians.
it's really funny because my number 10 is also Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
What?
Yeah, I really like Guardians a lot. I thought it was one of the best MCU movies we've gotten in years. It was really emotional. It worked. It was so fun and kinetic and just honestly some of James Gunn's finest work
Mhm.
as a director, and really just tore out your heartstrings. And you could tell they didn't make this movie because they had to contractually. They made this movie because they really really wanted to. And it just so happens that it also worked out really well for the shareholders for this movie to be made. But yeah, great movie. James Gunn. He is going to do no wrong at DC. He's going to do great. Well, maybe he will do wrong, but he's going to do great at his job at DC, and I'm really excited for Superman.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. So, moving on to number 9. Renzo, would you like to start?
My number 9 is Anatomy of a one of my favorite movie going experiences from last year. Um, I've said all that I can with this movie. Sandra Hüller, ooh, the best. And if you want to hear more, we talked about it on a previous episode, 2 previous episodes ago. So please listen to that. That way you'd hear more what I think about this movie. So, Castleman, what's your number 9?
So my number 9 is Past Lives.
Hmm.
This movie was wonderful. Like this is the last of my 4.5 star ones. This so close to a 5, maybe it's a 5. I just haven't been able to see it since I first saw it, but it was just an absolute wonderful film. That I I don't know where to start talking about this one. It's just this beautiful story about separation in the past that different people inevitably end up on their lives, and it's just so authentic and human. And like there's some lines of dialogue in this that were just so hard hitting. Uh,
Yeah.
like off the top of my head, the worst I can remember as like a problem is that it was a little too slow. Like I could argue it could be like even slightly tighter, but at the same time, you could also argue that maybe the longing and the moments of quiet almost make you feel what it's supposed to make you feel even more. So that's why I feel like I maybe need another watch of this. But all the same, I don't know if it would go any higher on my list. Even I did bump it up to 5 stars. But yeah, no, amazing film. Love this movie. Great performances. I just like watching these characters talk and watching them live, all of them. It was so good.
So, my number 9 was actually also Past Lives. And yeah, for very similar reasons, we spoke about it in the podcast before. Great movie.
All right. Shall we move to number 8?
Yes.
Who wants to go first for their number 8?
I can go.
All right,
Go
let's
ahead.
go.
So I think mine is going to be the lowest this film is on any of our lists. I love it though. This is the first. This is officially starting the 5 out of 5s for me.
Okay.
Um, Poor Things.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. This movie is so amazing. and so wonderful and so immaculately crafted. This I can easily see if this movie came out in different years, this could be my one or two. But it's just
Wow.
because this year was so absolutely insanely packed for movies that I don't. It was hard ranking these, man, because there's so many great movies. But I said a lot about this. If you listen to the last podcast, you know how strongly I feel about this movie. Fantastic film, wonderful technical filmmaking, and yeah, Emma Stone did give a great performance.
Yeah. Valid.
All right. Emil, it's your number 8.
My number 8 is Evil Dead Rise.
Ooh.
I
There you
really,
go.
really love Evil Dead Rise. It was like watching this movie in a theater on an early screening with a packed audience, just really felt like the equivalent of being in a rock concert. Like it was just electric. Like every scene was just so expertly crafted. I love the fact that they used the one setting for the majority of the movie and really had such an incredible sense of being trapped. And it was just one of the few Evil Dead movies that like I was really, really invested in the story. Weirdly, which you're usually not in these kind of things. You're just kind of there for the ride. But I thought that the whole package was just excellent, and I am so excited that Evil Dead is coming back. And I think that it works best as a franchise where you take this concept and just apply it to different locations. This is a great usage of that.
There we go.
Agreed.
Yeah. What about you, Renzo?
My number 8 is Killers of the Flower by Martin Scorsese. What else to say with this one? I mean, literally one of the best works of Marty in recent years. Like, my God, even the editing is amazing. Lily Gladstone being like the heart of this movie, and her, even though like it's not as showy as it doesn't go big, it's those quiet moments with her where you just feel it. Like you could see it in Lily Gladstone's eyes, like the pain that she's experiencing. Like, damn, like truly, truly amazing movie. Despite how much I love the book and how much I prefer the book, this is an excellent movie, and I agree to what Castleman said earlier. Like, it should be watched by everyone. So, Killers of the Flower Moon, number 8, deserved.
Fine, guys. I'll watch it. God damn.
You have to, Emil. You have to. You have to commit to
Yeah.
Marty.
For reference, I'm reading the book, and I wanted to finish that before I watched the movie. But then I started reading Dune, and I got more invested in Dune. Sorry.
Water is sacred.
Water is sacred. Kwisatz Haderach.
Okay. We've all mentioned our number 8s.
We
So
have.
we'll be moving to number 7. I will be starting off with my number 7 since I know this will be talked about more. John Wick Chapter 4 is in my number 7.
Great movie.
Incredible. This is action movie orchestra to the highest. Keanu Reeves is the GOAT. And watching Donnie Yen in this movie was such a treat. It was such a delight. My God, what an experience! Oh man, very unforgettable. For the early part of 2023, I thought this was the best movie of that year. Like that's how good this movie was. Like, god
Wow.
dang. And I low-key wish we wouldn't get another sequel for this movie, but knowing Hollywood, they might make another one, but I wish this is the last one. So that is my number 7.
Sweet. My number
Number seven.
7. Oh, you can go ahead, Joseph.
My number 7 is Godzilla -1. This movie was. I actually did not have this movie on my radar at all, and then I think Renzo, were you the first to see it?
Yes, I was the first to see it.
And then you told Emil to see it, and then you guys both said you got to see this movie. And I'm not a big Godzilla guy. I'm not. I saw the 54 movie. I was like, oh, that's a classic. It's not my favorite movie of all time or anything. And I've seen like the legendary franchise that mixes over with King Kong, and it's okay. And I saw Shin Godzilla, and I know that one's a big love, and I didn't even really like it that much. It was good, but I didn't love it. And so I walked into this movie, and it made me tear up, man. This movie gave me the same feeling as Top Gun Maverick. And I know that's a weird comparison because they should be different movies, but like I'm just talking about the pure breadth of optimism near the end and the indomitable human spirit you feel like watching this movie, and the just care and passion put into it. And with this one, it almost feels better because it's made on such a small budget, you know. And it looks amazing. Dudes, this movie is so good. This movie just kicked me right in the face, and I did not expect to love it as even remotely as much as I did, because you guys are going on and on about it, and I was like, yeah, another Godzilla movie, I'll probably like it. And then I am gobsmacked how good this movie was. Absolutely gobsmacked.
Pulling out the British slang for that.
The British are coming.
Yeah. Well, I felt very similarly about my number 7 pick, which was the Iron Claw. I had pretty much no expectations going into this one, but then I sat down in the theater and watched it, and I was locked in for the entire runtime. Man, this is the best performance that Zac Efron has ever had. I don't think anyone would fight me on that.
Excuse me,
but
Troy Bolton, High School Musical. Excuse me.
Sorry, he's better in this movie. Wow. Excellent picture. Very clearly told with a lot of love and passion for wrestling and the source material, but also approaches it in a way that is good for anyone. I didn't really care about wrestling before. I don't know anything about wrestling, but this movie just locked me in and just got me very emotional by the end. Also, it sold me on Jeremy Allen White as a guy. Like, I was like, yep, this guy's awesome. I'm going to watch The Bear now. And I did, and I loved it. So thank you, Iron Claw.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Chef. Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on to our number 6?
Let's do it.
All right. My number 6 is The Zone of Interest. I've said my praises for this movie and how it's very important. But yeah, The Zone of Interest, excellent movie, and it deserved to win. And that's all I have to say for Zone of Interest now.
But were you interested?
It was.
Were you in the zone?
I was in the zone, and I was very.
Very
Okay.
what?
So, Castleman, what is your number 6?
My number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Both of you have synced up on this one for your 10th spot, and I echo a lot of what you guys say. This is probably I did not bother with the Marvels, and I haven't bothered with any of the Disney Plus streaming shows because here's the thing: I've felt a lot of conflicting things about the MCU in the past few years. I used to be a huge fan of it, like back when I was in high school, and even through early college up until Endgame came out. I was the guy who was there first Thursday every year. I was always super into it, always loving what was done. There was a few missteps there and there, but up until that point, I was mostly locked in. And ever since then, like I think the more and more I've gotten into cinema in general, the less locked in I've been. But at the same time, I will always love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think what James Gunn brings to them is generally almost always the best that you can get. I still think Volume 2 is my favorite, but this one is a close second in terms of that trilogy, because this one was able to do so many great things. And it's just so genuinely emotional. And after I saw it, I was like, that movie was so amazing that I think it will be better for me if I leave the MCU on this one.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine another MCU film being able to deliver to me the same amount of catharsis or emotion or care that this one delivered. I just, at the end of the day, I just don't think I need to care anymore, because this movie, I feel like you gotta go on a good note, and because the MCU won't let you go, it will just keep making more stuff. You gotta pick your own time to leave. And I saw this movie and was like, yep, it's time. This is the best choice. This is how I keep, and a still overall positive experience of what the MCU gave to me. As I get older, the more and more I agree with Marty. He's pretty much exactly right, but I'll always, but this movie still reminds me that some of these movies, I love them for a reason. And yeah, this one's great. James Gunn. I will be watching his Superman. I'm excited to see what he does with it, because he has a great crew, and they are all amazing. So, yeah.
Woo.
Sweet.
Okay.
My number 6 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Kind of surprised. I have this, I think, the lowest out of all of us. But I watched this movie, like, as we said in the previous podcast, I watched it like every day for like 5 or 6 days straight or something like that. It was a movie I really, really enjoyed. And I really, people give this movie shit for the ending being a cliffhanger. I thought it really worked, and it did its job of making you want to watch the next movie, while also, I think, feeling pretty complete for Miles' character and for the characters of the story, the arcs. I thought it worked, did what it needed to do, it set everything up for the next one. But, we knew this was going to be a middle child of the trilogy from the beginning. It was Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and Part 2 at first. So I wasn't as upset by it. But I love the film. I made a Spider-Man 2099 fan film which Castleman also worked on, and that was something that was really personal to me. Seeing Miguel on screen for the first time, I thought it was super cool, and was very impactful and emotional, and hit really hard when it needed to, and had a pretty good grasp of understanding of Spider-Man as a character. I will say though, I'm after Beyond the Spider-Verse. I'm pretty ready for the multiverse stuff to be done with Spider-Man. I kind of just wanted to see him beat up some dudes in New York.
Stop people from getting robed. Yeah. That'd
Yeah,
be great.
exactly. From getting robed, exactly.
Okay. So are we gonna move on to number 5?
Top 5, baby.
Yeah, my number 5 is the sequel to Oppenheimer, Godzilla -1. That is my 5th favorite film of last year. Dude,
Wow.
my experience with this was like, I'm pretty much like, okay, my list for 2023, it's all lined up perfectly. My God, it's so beautiful. Goes to see this movie. Ah, shit. Where am I gonna put this movie?
Wow.
This movie was so good. It recalibrated my list. Like, where am I gonna put this movie? This movie's so good. Is this a top 10 movie? Or is this a top 5 movie? And it was so good. I had to see it another time. And that's where it cemented itself to be in the 5th place. Love this movie. Honestly, like, Japan is the only one who could basically like recalibrate Godzilla and so beautifully. Like it could be anything it wants to be, and that's the testament of this franchise going on for 70 years, man. This franchise is 70 years old, and it won an Oscar. So it's like, god dang. Godzilla minus one, great movie, pure emotional. When the first time I saw it, could not believe it that we have a Godzilla this good. So I can't sing my praises enough for this movie. So that is
Oh,
my
yeah.
number five. So Emil, what is your number five?
My number 5 is Kimi tachi wa do okiru ka, which is How Do You Live slash The Boy and the Heron in Japanese. I love this movie. I watched it at the New York Film Festival in October, and it hit me so hard I like couldn't listen to music on the train ride home afterwards. It was just such a modern marvel of filmmaking, and I was so like affected, and I didn't really like fully get it until the second time I watched it back in January, where it really like synced in and cemented itself as like, yeah, well, this is one of the best movies that I've seen in a really long time. And I'm not usually a big Ghibli stan, honestly. My favorite Ghibli movie is Porco Rosso, for reference, and I just, I don't know. This movie just has a lot of I have a lot of feelings about this movie, and I'm really happy that it won Best Animated Feature.
Ooh. Okay, Castleman, what is your five?
My number 5 is The Holdovers.
Hmm.
I talked a lot about this in the last one, but this movie was wonderful. It made me feel like I was watching a 70s film, and the characters felt so authentically human. I was stunned. Yeah, no, this one was amazing. Uh, wonderful 70s set coming of age film that I'm gonna watch it. I may just watch it every Christmas break from now on.
Yeah.
All right. And that leads us to our top four and our final four, basically. And my number four is Poor Things. What a great movie. What a great movie to watch. Like, oh my god. I mean, it makes sense why it won a lot of awards, even on its technical side. Like, just a beautiful, weird movie. And I think every year we kind of deserve that one movie that is very unique, weird, and beautiful all at the same time. And this was it. Like, honestly, like I could understand anyone else, like, if they would say that this was their favorite film of last year. It's that good. It's Yorgos's best film in like his career for me. Like it's the only one of his film that I could rewatch over and over again, and I am very happy with Poor Things. So yeah.
Well, it's really funny because my number 4 is also Poor Things. And I don't want to repeat myself or repeat what anyone else has said here. So all I'm going to say, thank you, Yorgos, for making fisheye lenses cool.
Right, Castleman, your number four.
My number 4 is fittingly John Wick Chapter 4.
Oh.
Hey.
I saw this movie again just last week because this was like the first movie I think I saw of 2023 that was at number 1. And
Mhm.
because it had been I had come out last March, if you think about it. And it was such a long time ago. I was like, you know what? I need to give this movie another shake because it's been so long that like because it was like slowly drifting down in my list. But I was remembering how many great things came from it, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it another shake, just to remember. It's a 3 hour. It's like an almost 3 hour movie. So I'll see if I can get through it, or you know, dude, I locked into this movie, and on rewatch, dude, this is like a symphony of action. This is a odyssey of action. This is a adventure of some of the best choreography and stunts, and this is the best John Wick movie. I think this might be one of the best action movies of all time. Like, and if you ask me, this is up there with like Mad Max Fury Road and I don't know, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, I don't even know where to start. This is a absolute miracle of a action film, and it works so well, even when some places it doesn't feel like it should, and it's just so beautifully choreographed and shot. The cinematography is amazing. Like it's interesting like how you see other action movies, but like oh yeah, the choreography is great, but it always looks kind of a little bit ugly. John Wick always makes sure that every single shot you see looks incredible, and with so much interesting light choices. Like the gaffer on this was having a field day, I bet. Just finding out how many different colors we could use in individual action sequences. Dude, and here's the thing. I was just like, I think there was a point when I first saw this. I saw it with like a bunch of my film friends. Right, I was like the day right before we were about to have a shoot, and this was just like us unwinding the day before. Um, I just began to giggle, like in the middle of the action sequences, because I was like in such a euphoric state watching it that like I think my friend Sam, who was like this, was just looking at me because I was like kind of weird because I was just like just making the silliest little noises watching all these men's heads get blown in, but I was just having such a great time. And then dude, the final sequence of John Wick 4 might be because like this movie, when an action sequence starts, it's not just like a 5 minutes action sequence. It'll go on like first you have the action sequence at Osaka, which lasts for about like 30 minutes straight, and then you have the action sequence in Russia, which lasts for like 25 minutes. The entire last hour of this is nothing but action, and it's some of the most insane ballers action stuff I've ever seen in a movie. Almost not stopping, and when it's stopping, it's doing something insane like the stair stuff. This movie, as a fan of action movies, this is everything I could possibly ask for, and I almost want to apologize for forgetting how good it was because it came out so earlier in the year. Yeah, John Wick Chapter 4, masterpiece of action.
Cool.
There we have it.
There it is.
All right, and time to move on to number 3. Anyone want to go first in number 3?
I'll go first. It's pretty short. I pick Holdovers for number 3. We've said a million things about Holdovers. I don't want to repeat it, but it's just warm, cozy, fun, great, heartfelt, full spectrum of emotions. Great movie.
There we go. Okay, I will go with my number 3. My number 3 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This one touched me in like the best way for my heart. The things that Miles talked with his mom was very relatable. I remembered my mom like most of when I watch this movie, I think of and how much I miss her. Shout out to mom, love you, mom, miss you. Um,
Aw.
yeah, like you guys said, it's the chapter of it's the middle chapter, but it's the most comic booky movie that I felt, and I love the ending of it being a cliffhanger because like it's like reading a comic book, you know? It ends where it says like to be continued, and how rare is that they actually use that comic book format to a movie and work so well. And that's why I love this. Like the score is really good. I kind of wish Daniel Pemberton even got nominated for how good the score was. Like before Oppenheimer, I thought this was like best score of the year in my opinion. So really love Across the Spider-Verse. It's one of my favorite films of the last year. It's one of my favorite comic book films. So yeah, love Across the Spider-Verse. That's all I have to say for it.
Uh-uh.
Castleman, are you ready for your rank 3?
Um, my number 3 is The Flash. So Ever since I got that lobotomy, I've been feeling really different about this movie. I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, when you said that, my heart dropped. I was like, what?
The power of the multiverse.
In the palm of my hand. No, in all seriousness, I have the same as you, Renzo. It's Across the Spider-Verse was my number 3.
Yeah.
No, we're synced up here because I loved Across the Spider-Verse. Like
Mhm.
it's sad to hear that there may have not been the smoothest stuff behind scenes, but all the same, they made a near perfect movie. I'm okay with this being half a film because I feel like, especially with Gwen's storyline, it's so complete in that end. It's just a beautiful movie, if you ask me. It's so lovely. I agree with you. My biggest worry going into this movie was when it comes to Spider-Man stuff, I think the main reason Spider-Man 2 will always be my favorite is because it's the only one that really has the guts to focus in and deliver on, yeah, this Spider-Man is also just a guy dealing with real stuff. And I was worried going into this movie that would just be a bunch of multiverse shenanigans. But no, it genuinely does still make time to show Miles is this kid with his, family life and all these other things, and he has real human concerns and responsibilities that he has to deal with. And this movie still makes time for that, and I think it's a beautiful movie. I still do think the first one is better, but I mean, I think the first one is a lightning in a bottle masterpiece that it's kind of hard to top. So I don't really hold anything against it for not really touching it. Um, it's a beautiful movie. I think I agree with you on the soundtrack. The soundtrack was obviously snubbed for best score, but Daniel Pemberton can be recognized anywhere else because that guy knows what he's doing. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I big Spider-Man guy here, and I love this movie.
Hell yeah.
We're all big Spider-Man guys in this chat.
We love Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's the reason we all met.
Yeah.
Loki, yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. So now we're gonna move on to number 2. Everyone ready for their number 2?
Yeah,
All right, Castleman. What's your
I think
number
I should
2?
go last.
You want to go
Okay.
last? Okay.
Yeah.
Emil, go with your number 2.
My number 2 is Godzilla -1. As we have all said, this is just such an incredible movie. I'm also really not a Godzilla guy that much. I've seen the OG. I've seen a couple of scattered ones. I've seen the Godzilla, the American one, both of them. And I like him. I think he's a cool guy, cool dude. Does fun things. I think the stories are really interesting. But I was never like in love with it, how some people are. But this is the movie that made me understand. I just think this is such a beautiful film in so many levels, and I've recommended this to like everyone in my life, even people that don't like Godzilla. And I've gotten some people that have told me that they have really liked it, and I am glad that this is just the kind of movie that you can just tell someone about to go watch, even if it's not up their alley. And if they trust you enough to go watch it, they'll just watch it and love it probably as much as you do. Great. Really fun time. One of the most memorable movie going experiences I've had in recent memory.
There we go. My number 2 is Past Lives. Honestly, I could see myself rewatching this movie every year just to like reflect on all the decisions that I've done with my life. It's a clear reminder of what could have been in our lives and how we should be like thankful for all those people that we've crossed paths with, like despite how much it would hurt or sometimes it would make you happy. It's just the most human film of 2023 in my opinion. That is the reason why I love this movie so much. And it affects me like top 2, top 3, like Across the Spider-Verse and Past Lives are the ones that really affected me like on a more emotional level. And yeah. Oh, and honestly, fun fact, Greta Lee is in both of these movies. She's in Past Lives and she's in Across the Spider-Verse. So big year for
Wait,
Greta.
who does she
Yes.
play in Greta? What?
Yeah. Greta Lee plays Lila in Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Oh, that's
wow.
crazy.
Okay.
She's in both of the best films of the year, in my opinion.
Wow.
Wasn't that great? So, Castleman, what is?
So, the reason I decided I want to do my two last is because I know it's the same as your guys' one. I hate to disappoint the sync up here, but not my number two is Oppenheimer. Uh, uh, I loved Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, I saw it like
Mhm.
3 times in theaters. I think it's one of the it's one of my favorite filmmakers. Absolutely on the top of his game, and it obviously deserved all those Oscars. Um, if you just guys, I don't know. I felt like we talked about this, so if you guys want to go ahead and segue to you guys talking about your number ones.
Okay, I will be going. My number one easily. My God. What a movie. What a friggin' picture, in my opinion. Nolan at the very top of his game in a very long time. Um, I will be going to see it again tomorrow. This would be my 5th time seeing the movie. That's how much I love Oppenheimer. Um, Truly, what a life-changing experience. We are so lucky to have this movie. It deserved all the sweeps from the Oscars last night. Great movie. Love you, Nolan. Thank you for everything. Even Tenet. Travis. Tenet. Travis.
Sandwich.
Poppy. Okay, Emil. I'm pretty sure your number one is
Do
Oppenheimer.
I even need to say it? Yeah, do I need to say
Yeah.
it? It's fucking Oppenheimer. Yeah, we've said everything we can say about this film, probably.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Castleman, what is this? What is this number one that you've been hiding from us?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've really been hiding it because I spontaneously erupt into sermons about how great it is at the drop of a
Yeah.
hat.
I'm you
Um,
you dropped the pitchforks to me, so
yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
it's funny. Emil was more about the pitchforks, and I was just
I
vibing over
was.
here. I was more wondering about how do I live? Because
Yeah.
sometimes this movie
there
just
it is.
gets me in a vibe where I'm like, how do I live? How do I
Mm.
understand where I'm going in life compared to where I know I could be versus my challenges facing me wanting to be in an artistic position? How do I understand like the film as an art form is something daunting sometimes, and
Mhm.
going into it is something that I sometimes feel uncertain about, and maybe I don't feel like I belong here. And but at the same time, I know I love it, and but I know that there are sacrifices that I'm gonna have to give up in my life because I want to do this. I've accepted certain major things like having a family and other things is not something I'll be able to prioritize for a long time because I'm going to be so focused in on grinding and going forwards in my life. And maybe sometimes I will end up in a big grassy field playing with blocks. Maybe I am going to be of that, even if I am decent at it, because maybe I'll be terrible at stacking those blocks and I'll have spent my entire life wasting away in a big field with long gray hair growing on my face, and there'll be a giant like shell above me that represents something. And I'm yet to even unpack that, um, because sometimes you don't need to unpack everything. Sometimes understanding everything about a movie isn't the most important thing to do. Sometimes you are able to get a movie without understanding a single thing, and that's how I felt walking out of my first viewing of The Boy and the Heron. And walking out of my second viewing of The Boy and the Heron, I understood way more. And all of that I've said, even what I understand the movie to be about. It's just what the movie makes me inwardly feel about myself as a person. Uh, Low key, it gives me an existential panic, while at the same time making me feel more human and more alive and more in touch with my artistic spirit. I maybe I'm getting too pretentious here. I don't know. And maybe it's making me wonder if I'm getting too pretentious instead of just diving straight forwards into loving this as a piece of art. But Hayao Miyazaki's The Boy and the Heron known in Japan as How Do You Live, as Emil said, is a masterpiece that I'm going to be coming back to in 20 years and 40 years. And I'm going to be comparing How Do I Live to this little movie about a boy who's still trying to get over the death of his mom. And he meets a heron voiced by Robert Pattinson. I again, it's crazy that I still haven't been able to unpack everything about this movie, but yeah, it's my number one because I don't know if I can if another movie will make me feel this way in a while, man. Yeah.
Well, I think that is beautiful, Castleman, and I am so glad
Truly.
that you know, I know it takes a lot to dethrone Nolan from your list.
Yeah.
I know he's your
I
guy.
mean-
Like that takes a lot.
I
And
mean,
I
it's
remember seeing this movie
master
with you.
and master, man.
Master and
Master.
Master. I
I mean,
remember.
when I first saw it, Oppenheimer was still my first, but this was like a second. But it was like creeping up on it, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I saw it again with you at and when I was in New York, and that just sort of confirmed it for me.
Yeah. No, it's just great film, and it's just one of those movies that makes you appreciate life.
And I gotta say, this movie especially did something for me because when I saw it, I had a cold so bad I could barely breathe.
Oh man. Yeah.
and I was like, I'm not missing this movie, so I went there with a mask and everything. I was just like, and I'm just trying
Well,
to.
Miyazaki
sorry.
led you to paradise.
Led
Yep.
to Paradise. Well, 2023 was an amazing year for films, and I think we just going based on how long we've been talking about how much we love these movies that have come out. It's just really makes you think about how great this industry is and how great the movies are. Yeah, I think this is a good place to kind of call it, unless you guys have anything
Mhm.
else to say.
No.
No. I am all good. And as I usually say, there it is.